just appreciate you all support. And I'm looking in this room, and I was telling somebody earlier, I said, I have my faithful few. I have my faithful few. And you know what? Without you all, I don't even know how I would manage. When I say my faithful few, you all are the ones who are for me with the food drive and whatever I say, the back to school supplies. Y'all ready? And I said, let's do this. Let's run for another seat. You all are ready. And that's just so, it's priceless. It's priceless to me. And I don't even have the adjectives to describe the emotion that I feel when all of us come together for a common cause. But I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my family over to the right. Wave your hands. That's my lovely daughter-in-law, Danielle, and Tia, and Aaliyah, and Janelle. My granddaughters, they came to represent because my son could not be here today. So they are representing the Scott clan today. And thank you all. I appreciate you all being here. And they already have their marching orders for the rest of the week because as Team Scott hit the ground, they are part of Team Scott. So I have their shirts ready, and they may as well have their breakfast early because we're going to be on the streets early tomorrow. We have a lot to do. But more importantly, I just want to, I can't even say recognize everybody because everybody here is already involved, except for Pool. and what do we tell Pool, y'all? Somebody tell him.
Oh, you're not getting out of it.
Oh, yeah. Tell that to she doesn't believe in divorce.
You're here for the long run.
So now we have your phone number, so when we call everybody else, you'll be called as well. Because the councilwoman does not believe in divorce.
I knew I shouldn't have signed.
There is a reason why you are signed in. But more importantly, we have a job to do.
Upstairs.
And I appreciate all we have done up to this point. We have covered over half of what we need to do to be successful on May 1st. And in the next 10 days, we're going to finish the rest of it. And we are excited because we've been in the community and we've heard from the citizens, and the people have spoken. And they tell us when we're out and about, how they feel about what's going on in the city. And how well they think that things have been under my leadership. So I don't take that for granted. And I'm sure I'm still the best woman for the job. And I'm hoping to continue the legacy that us, Team Scott, have set forth for the North District. I've always talked about what I've done, but you know what? Most recently, I have a speech coach that advised me that I don't need to talk about what I've done because everybody knows about that. That's what she said. I'm not gonna call her name, but she's in this room. But she said I need to talk about what happens in the next 4 years, and she's right because we've done so much that I can't even measure it. I don't even think about how much I've done or what I've done. I just think about how much more can I do. And case in point, one of my opponents said last evening that I didn't want to be a councilwoman. And I had to catch my breath first because if I didn't want to be a councilwoman, I'm going to tell you all about just one day out of my week. And most of you who know me, y'all know you cannot get in touch with me not because I'm chilling, it's because I'm busy. And yesterday, my day started reading to 4-year-olds at 9 o'clock. It was supposed to have been 1 hour. But have you all been in the class with 4-year-olds lately? Well, my 1 hour reading session turned into a 90-minute reading session. And then I had to leave there and be in Hampton for 11 o'clock interview with the Peninsula Realtors Association. Virginia Peninsula Realtors Association. I had to be there at 11 o'clock, and I got there at 1 minute to 11, so I was on time. Wow. And then I left there, and I didn't speed either. And I left there, and I had to come back to the district and go to the post office and go to the bank, and then I had to go home, and I had to get dressed because I had to be a volunteer for CASA at 5 o'clock yesterday at Salsa's, and thanks to some of my friends who came to Salsa's yesterday to support me. So I went to Salsa's and I told them I only have 1 hour. And in 1 hour, I raised $63. And well, I wasn't even there a whole hour. In 30 to 40 minutes, I raised $63. And I sold my apron, so I probably raised $100. I usually sell my apron for $50. So my apron was sold before I left. I don't know how much she paid for it, but she told me after the second margarita, she would decide how much she would pay me for that apron. So I'm sure I started at $50. I'm sure I got at least $30 to $50 for my apron. But after I left there, they had Salute to Success at Marriott for all the kids, the best and the brightest kids in the city of Newport News. So I was at Salute to Success, and then I looked up and I said, well, I have to be at the forum at 7 o'clock. So at 10 minutes to 7, I left and I was at the admin building at 7 o'clock for the forum. So does that sound like somebody who doesn't want to be councilwoman? Huh? Just checking. Today I received, and this was kind of bittersweet and emotional for me. A young lady sent me a messenger, and she said, my brother met you some years ago, and he always talks about you and how he felt that day when you were talking to him. Well, recently he had his foot amputated, and she called me and she asked me, she said, would you go with me to the hospital just to see him, just to lift his spirit? That's the day of a councilwoman, you know what? And these are the things that people don't see, because when I do things, I don't do it to be seen or recognized. I do things because it's the right thing to do. So I am running for city council for 4 more years because it is the right thing to do, because we have some things that are left undone in our district. We don't complain in our district. The citizens have been, so kind. We've waited our turn. Well, it's our turn. We want the Denby Community Center, Aquatic Center built. We deserve it. We've earned the opportunity to have it. We've paid our taxes. We've supported all of the things that they wanted in the South community. We've supported everything they call economic engines when they came up. I supported those things because I wanted us to have an opportunity to get some of the things that we need here in our district. So in 2020, we should be breaking ground on the Denby Aquatic Center. So you know what, I am really proud of that, and I hope that the citizens will have an opportunity to enjoy that as we do the Denby Community Center right now. We also have a couple other things in the CIP over the next 5 years, a new library to face Grissom. Grissom is very old and they've been patching it, a new fire station. We have to pull that fire station off of the airport. It's in a bad spot, and when there's a traffic jam, we want emergency. If I want to have an emergency, I want them like straight away. I don't want them to figure out how they're gonna get out of that little cul-de-sac and get out. And the same thing for the police station and Station 9. Those things are being discussed as being moved. I think 2 of the 3 are in the 5-year CIP. So those are some of the things that I'm excited about us as a group collectively doing. But this councilwoman, we have a lot of things going on in the city, and part of the problem is we have employers who have jobs and we don't have people to fill them. Can you imagine that? We have mobile. Minimum wage is $17. Anybody want $17 an hour? Yeah, mobile. All you have to take is an aptitude test, because it's a niche market industry that they have. They make smart equipment. Then we have Canon, who has 600 jobs available. Nobody to take them, so they have started a program, and we're starting to partner with Thomas Nelson to maybe develop some kind of training program so that Canon can train people, quicker to get them to work. And then you have the Lee Bears and the Continentals and, the Jefferson Lab and all these places with high-tech jobs with no people to fill them. So I think that it's time for all 3 districts to have a community, a workforce development center, because now our workforce development center is at Thomas Nelson. So to take the bus, I heard, from Denby or from the south to Thomas Nelson, I heard it's a 2 or 3 hour ride. Who wants to do that? But if we want to empower our citizens and help them become whole, unfortunately, if they're not working, that means somewhere along the line there was a lack of motivation, or they just were disenchanted because of what they had to do to get it done. And so we need to make some things a little more convenient. And I think Workforce Development Center would be one of them. We have a rash of crime in our city, and the people committing the crimes are 16 to 35 years old. Somebody called them millennials. 16 to 35 years old, the majority of the crime in the city. When people ask me about crime, I can't fix crime, but I tell you what I can do. I can support programs that change the mindsets of the people who are committing crimes. And that's what the city needs to invest in, because we can't even police our way out of crime. And someone mentioned last evening, well, we need more community policing. Uh, some of us in the room, we know that there are some community policing initiatives, and it has not solved this problem. So for us to get some different results, we're going to have to start doing something that we're not doing already. And then we have a lot of vacant shopping centers, especially here in Denby. And I mean, some of my people here, for those of you who are listening live, some of our people here nodding their heads because they are vacant. And I think we have an opportunity with the new entrepreneurship program that is being started up through Economic Development Authority to kind of get some of those shopping centers, functional again. And what the EDA has started doing is holding entrepreneurship seminars. So what they're doing is they're showing you how to get started and telling you what you need to get started. They are telling you what kind of grants and loans are available through the city, so that someone who wants to be in business, you have a chance. And people came at the last one I went last Monday. People came with all kind of ideas, but the thing they really came for was the money. It was like, show me the money, but can y'all give us a grant? And there are some grants, but there are a lot of matching grant type situations that will make things better. So I think that's going to be a big positive. And then I think there's an opportunity. There's a little town in Marion, Virginia, that has pop-up retail. And what pop-up retail is, like, if you have a bright idea, you're selling something for Christmas, or you're selling something for the 4th of July, or you're selling something for Halloween or Mother's Day, or just for a holiday, that they really